Hey guys, it's Lord of the Pogs. For the next 9 weeks, we're talking about the 2003 film School of Rock. I've always been interested in the chalkboard where he teaches his students about the history of rock and roll, and it's this scene I want to talk about. Today we're covering blues, jazz, R&B, and doo-wop. Blues originated in the deep south of the United States around the 1860s from roots in work songs and spirituals, which they themselves were descended from New England choral traditions mixed with African rhythms. The term blues came from blue devils, meaning melancholy and sadness. Over time, the phrase lost the reference to devils and it came to mean a state of agitation or depression. Blue notes are third, fifths, and sevenths flattened in pitch, and a blues scale is formed by adding blue notes to an existing scale. In New Orleans black communities in the late 19th century, swing rhythms and blue notes mixed with ragtime music began to form what we know today as jazz, which in turn aided the development of blues music, which itself moved away from rock and roll and formed its own musical genre. The blues scale isn't unheard of in modern music. However, much like country, we're going to assume that blues is entirely separate from rock and that it developed and matured and broke off into R&B around the 1940s. The artists associated with R&B are listed as Fats Domino, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Ray Charles, Bo Diddley, and Ike and Tina Turner. Fats Domino began his music career in 1949. His first single, The Fat Man, is cited by some as the first rock and roll record to sell more than 1 million copies, and he began scoring a string of mainstream hits starting with 1955's Ain't That a Shame. Elvis Presley said Fats Domino was a huge influence on me when I started out, although he himself didn't think of his music as rock and roll, saying it wasn't anything but the same rhythm and blues I'd been playing down in New Orleans. Bo Diddley's real name is Ellis McDaniel, and other kids gave him his stage name early on as an insult. Diddley is a truncation of diddly squat, meaning absolutely nothing, and a diddley bow is a homemade single-string instrument played in the Deep South in the style of a bottleneck guitar. Bo Diddley influenced Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly in the rockabilly scene, and the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Clash further down the line. His hit singles include Pretty Thing, Say Man, and You Can't Judge a Book by the Cover. Little Richard's charismatic showmanship and dynamic music, characterized by frenetic piano playing, pounding backbeat, and raspy shouted vocals, laid the foundation for rock and roll. His innovative emotive vocalization and up-tempo rhythmic music also played a key role in the formation of soul and funk further down the line. His signature song, Tutti Frutti, was an instant hit, and in his next single, Long Tall Sally, hit #1 on the Billboard Rhythm and Blues Bestsellers chart. Chuck Berry is dubbed the father of rock and roll. Writing lyrics that focused on teen life and consumerism and developing a music style that included guitar solos and showmanship, Chuck Berry was a major influence on subsequent rock music. He refined and developed rhythm and blues into the major elements that made it distinctive with songs such as Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, Rock and Roll Music, and Johnny B. Good. Doo-Wop is a variation of R&B that originated in black communities in the 1940s, featuring group harmonies and little to no instrumentation. Doo-Wop itself is a nonsense term, first heard in the backing vocals of 1945's Just a Sittin' and a Rockin' by the Delta Rhythm Boys, and it was first seen in print in 1961, in reference to Blue Moon by the Marcells. The artists associated with doo-wop are listed as the Platters, the Coasters, the Drifters, and the Temptations. The Platters started in 1952 in Tin Pan Alley tradition of pianists and songwriters demonstrating their songs to music publishers. The name Tin Pan Alley was originally a derogatory term referring to cheap upright pianos all playing different tunes, with the term tin pan itself being slang for a decrepit piano. The Platters had 40 charting singles on the Billboard Hot 100 between 1955 and 1967, including the #1 hits The Great Pretender, My Prayer, Twilight Time, and Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. The Coasters had a string of hits in the late 1950s, beginning with Searching and Young Blood in 1956. They got their name when the 1940s R&B group The Robins couldn't decide to remain in Los Angeles or sign with Atlantic Records. The group split and two members relocated to form the Coasters because they switched from the West Coast to the East Coast. In 1958, the Coasters released their only national #1 hit single, Yakety Yak. The Drifters are several doo-wop vocal groups. They were originally formed as a backing group for Clyde McPhatter, formerly the lead tenor of Billy Ward and his Dominoes in 1953. The second Drifters formed in 1959 and were originally an up-and-coming group named the Five Crowns. After 1965, members drifted in and out of both groups, and some formed other groups of drifters as well, and several current groups of drifters can trace roots back to these original groups. The original Drifters had 13 chart hits. Subsequent formations of the Drifters recorded 13 Billboard Hot 100 Top 30 chart hits, and the 1950s and 60s Drifters also notched 6 #1 hits, including Money Honey, Honey Love, Adorable, There Goes My Baby, Save the Last Dance for Me, and Under the Boardwalk. The Temptations formed in Detroit, Michigan in 1960 and released a series of successful albums during the 1960s and 70s, including My Girl. The Temptations are known for their choreography, distinct harmonies, and dress style, and having sold tens of millions of albums, they remain among the most successful groups in popular music. Over the course of their career, the Temptations released 4 Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles, and their music has earned 3 Grammy Awards, and they were ranked at number 68 on Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a tip. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that little bell in the corner to get notifications on more videos like this one.